Shalom, shalom. Ariel back at you with another lesson through the power and the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harakat giving double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and rise up to the house of David. Another Norfolk Southern train derailment in Alabama. So we're going to check out this from W7 with the recent derailments that have been taking place. There's a lot, and this is all the prophecy being fulfilled, man. You raise your heads erect, look up, for your deliverance is getting nearer. So we're going to hit some precepts. Without further ado, let's check out this some of the updates, what's been taking place with so-called, every time I turn on the news, you got some kind of derailment, bombing attacks, chemical weapons leaks out, explosions. Let's check this out.
This is W7. We have yet another train derailment involving Norfolk Southern, and this comes right as the CEO is testifying here today in Congress about all these issues that have been ongoing. Now, one can argue that the overall infrastructure in this country has gone to crap, and that the tracks not being laid out and laid down the correct way are part of the problem. They in turn will say, though, that Norfolk Southern is responsible for making sure that those tracks are in good working order. As we seen in the last incident just yesterday in West Virginia, they had stated that Norfolk Southern owns from the center of the track out 12 feet on each side in most of these situations. Therefore, anything within those bounds, they are responsible for. They have to clean up and all that. We now have an investigation being launched into this company. We have the Fed saying that they have sent teams out to high-profile events many times since just 2021, and they want to know what's going on. And of course, they bring up the situation in East Palestine here, where we still do not have the testing that was needed on the people. Everything has been late pretty much here, and they've dropped the ball big time. But in terms of this new derailment here in Alabama, they're saying that there was no hazardous material that was leaked out or anything like that. No one injured, which is good. 30 cars derailing this morning, and they're still working to get that whole thing straightened up. So their top guy, the CEO, getting grilled by Congress over all these events, an investigation being launched into it here as we have another derailment. Follow me on Twitter.
All right, man. There you have it. So we're just catching up on some of these derailments, whatever they're talking about. These derailments, could it be these plans, schemes going on here? And they're doing investigations into the Atlantic, Mississippi trains. As far as, you know, there's so much. Let's check out some more of these other videos. Let me just look at some of these videos. See if there's so much we can go into, man. This is the Norfolk Southern train derailments, Alabama. You got the other one here on the right. This one here, alert train derailment in West Virginia, injuries several people. Sands Diesel, so that one released chemicals and all kind of toxic chemicals, man. Here's another one here. East Palestine dam collapses, releasing toxic derailment sludge onto local waterways. And this is the first one. It started out here. Yeah. We are dying slowly. This one here. We are dying slowly. East Palestine sickness class action lawsuit filed. Man, look at this one. There's more. Dropping like flies. This one here. Dropping like flies. East Palestine residents are workers diagnosed with chemical what?
With Google Local Services ads, you only pay when...
Diagnosed with chemical... Get rid of that ad. East Palestine residents and workers diagnosed with chemical bronchitis. Let's check this one out. Man, there's so much to catch up on as far as all these news.
We have some shocking news.
And he covers a lot of these type of things. These kind of so-called natural disasters. Darbu 0077. If you don't know about him. Brother say possibly a Jake. But I hear one brother say, one of the LA brothers was saying that for hundreds of years these trains have been running regular routines with no derailments. Now all of a sudden you got derailments, Alabama, all these places, East Palestine, left, right and centre, these derailments are taking place. What's happening with this one? Just check it out. So there's obviously something going on, man. Terror's all around. Job 18 and 14, man, which is the Most High's angels. He's doing his thing on the left hand side. Yahweh Bashim Yoshai is doing his thing on the left hand side. Whether it be all planned, problem reaction solutioned by left hand side demons, by the east, the vessels of the vessels of wrath, which are used by Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. Psalms 17 and 13, the sword. It's all of Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, because they're just his puppets, bringing down this kingdom. Because Jacob's kingdom is on his way in, man. The birth is coming, and the death of Esau's kingdom is going out. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9.
This is Dabu 7. We have some shocking new information here connected to the residents and workers near the site where the train carrying this vinyl chloride derailed in Ohio, East Palestine. These people being diagnosed with several different things, but chemical bronchitis at the top of the list, along with other conditions. And it's all connected to chemical exposure coming from this site. This is huge, absolutely huge. One lady, Melissa Blake here, who lives within a mile of the crash, started coughing up gray mucus, and this was 2 days after the train derailed. She evacuated from her home. She went to the emergency room. She was diagnosed with acute bronchitis due to chemical fumes, meaning those toxic cancer-causing fumes got into her system, no doubt. The same fumes and chemicals that are killing tons of wildlife and obviously here at this point affecting all kinds of people. This lady has yet to go back to her house since this all went down. At Saram Fam, this is a company adjacent to the derailment. 5 of its 10 workers were too sick to work, according to their manager. He said that they suspended operations for about a week because of the derailment, and then they were told that everything was fine. So they resumed work on February 13th. Right after that, 2 days is all it took again. They started dropping like flies. People ending up with rashes, nausea, vomiting, bloody noses, eye issues, a lot of coughing and wheezing. A ton of issues. They sent workers to the hospital to get checked out, and sure enough, in most cases, they were told the same thing, chemical bronchitis. They've been put on all kinds of different pills, medicines, including steroids. Some have even been given inhalers and breathing machines. So this is absolutely crazy what these people are going through after some tried to say, oh, we've cleaned up this and that. Well, let me tell you something, man. People are suffering big time up here, and this continues. A heads up, I'm going to continue to update on this as I get breaking information. Make sure to follow me on Instagram.
All right, man. There you have it. East Palestine residents dropping like flies from chemical bronchitis. Let's hit a precept, because really this is of the Lord. Of course it's of the Lord. He's a master manipulator, the master puppet manipulator, and these are just the sword. Because there's not just train derailments. When I tapped in on Google how many train derailments, but there's more than this, just 3. It shows up at 3, but this was just under 2 weeks ago, 12 days ago. So This is when it all started to happen. We started to hear about these things. This was in the East Palestine. Look at this, man. As far as the ones that he's covered, W7, you got the massive fire at Grand Food Concourse in the Bronx. Another food connection up in flames. There's a lot of that happening. Food's going up in flames. A lot of that. This one here, heads up, another fire, big spill of hydrofluoric acid onto water. All this, man. Let me read some precepts. This is all the end times, man. We spoke about in Matthew. So, this is the end times. Jeremiah 15 and 2. We're going to roll with this one in the spirit, man. And it shall come to pass, if thou say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then they shall tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as for death to death, such as for the sword to the sword. You know, the chemical, biological weapons killing these people. They're dropping like flies, man. The sword of E, such as for death to death, such as for the sword to the sword, such as for the famine to the famine. Yeah, such as for the captivity unto captivity. Oh, there's another thing I checked out as well. The thing over there in it's just announced. One of the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall was attacked. Someone went in there and started shooting up the place. That's in Germany. If I might do a video on that. Shooting up in the Kingdom Hall up in Germany, man. This one here. This is going to be a quick thing I'm doing at the moment, just going over some of these updates. A deadly shooting at Hamburg Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. Oh, no doubt them cowards in there must have been shitting themselves, man. Oh, I ain't going back to the Kingdom Hall again. You know, some Jehovah's Witness, what I used to be for over 20 years. Now they're getting on you, motherfuckers, false Christians, stemmed out of the Vatican, yeah, the Catholic Church, all this false Christianity. So yeah, the Most High's wrath. That's a spirit created for vengeance, turning on the Jehovah's Witnesses. About time and all the paedophilia that goes on in there. About time and all. Hamburg shooting, several killed in attack on Jehovah's Witnesses hall. If you just go and tap on in either Google or YouTube, all the paedophilia that they've been catching them doing, and they're paying off people out of the civil court. Jehovah's Witness people have been paying off like parents where their children have been molested. It's very, very, very much the same like the Catholic Church. What goes in the Catholic Church, paedophilia and all that. And they pay them off or they just move them on. The elders are into all of that, paedophilia. So it's just the same as Catholic Church. So the Most High is sending his spirit created for vengeance upon them now. About time and all. Hypocrite them. About time and all. So yeah, man, there's judgments all around. Judgments all around. Look at that. There are about 3 US train derailments per day. They ain't usually major disasters. Yeah, that's what they're saying. 3 US train derailments per day. And we just looked at the one there when we first started to hear about it in East Palestine. Judgments going on out there, man. All praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yeshua, bringing this place down. I'll read it from the top again, from 2 again, Jeremiah 15. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then shall thou tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as for death to death. Destruction coming upon them. Look at that. Yeah. Dropping like flies. East Palestine residents and workers diagnosed with chemical bronchitis. And that's a slow one to die. You just cough and cough and cough. Your lungs, they suffocate. Bronchitis. You end up coughing, dying from coughing, suffocated lungs. That's a slow death. That's a serious way to go, man. So the Most High is the King of Terrors, man. We're gonna look at that one too. Yeah, he knows, man, how to get the wicked. famine to famine, such as for captivity to captivity. Let me start. Such as for death to death, such as for the sword to the sword, such as to famine to famine, to the famine, and such as for the captivity to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord: sword to slay, dogs to tear, fowls of the heaven, and beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. So yeah, we know it's very creative. Yehovah Hashem Yahushua, when it comes to dishing out his dessert, he dishes at cold judgments. Yeah, slay. It's about the sword, the dogs to slay, the dogs to tear, the fowls of the heaven, the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. Yes, that reminds me of Sirach 39 and 28. Yeah, the spirits that are created for vengeance, that the Most High is in control of those spirits. Yeah, this Job chapters 18 and 9 says, and the jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. Alright, this is your kingdom, E. This is judgments against you directly, and everybody else that's caught up in it, other nations or even people of our own, from the tribe, from the 12 tribes, people of our own, the wicked of our own, may well get caught up in that too, all the others. You understand? That are made a covenant with the devil. The Most High is going to let them get the judgment as well. Yeah, the jinn to take them by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him and in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his knees. Yeah, look at that. Diagnosed with a chemical bronchitis. Yeah, literally dying, going down, coughing to death, suffocating to death in the lungs. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and shall bring him to the king of terrors. That's the king of terrors, turning up the screws for you, wicked, and you getting your judgments. Right, man? Directly, it's direct. Diagnosed with chemical bronchitis ain't no easy way to go. 2nd Ezra and 6:9 says, and for Esau is the end of the world. Yeah, it's the end of your kingdom, bringing it down by brick. Ultimately, the plan could well be that they want to set the stage for problem, reaction, solution, so that people have to come to E. You know, all the water's polluted, the food is destroyed, burned up. A lot of these corporations, food corporations, are getting burnt up. The eggs is getting burnt up, so that they have to be in a position of fear, problem, reaction, solution. So they have to go into, you know, ask for help to the governments. That's why a way that they can well be planning, so that they can introduce first of all the digital money. Make that which we know that's taking place now. It's the ground is set for that. The digital currency to be ground worldwide, to be set out worldwide, and then the MOTB. So this, as brothers are saying, could well be that plan that's taking place. Why are you hearing about all these derailments, things going up in smoke, pun intended, literally things going up in smoke. So this is the end of the, ultimately this is the end of the kingdom of the wicked. This is the end of your kingdom. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it after that followeth. Enough said. So terror is around them. His confidence shall be, back to Job 18 and 14, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. Yes. Psalms 40, this is Psalm 78 and 48. It says, he gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger with the indignation and trouble, by sending evil angels among them. However you want to cut it, however you want to slice it, this is the Most High. he's doing this. He's doing it, sending the evil angels. They are all the ease, the sword, otherwise known as the sword, the wrath of the Most High, the punishment, the punishing weapon, the punisher, which is the Most High is in control of that, and he just uses the angels to do that, to control the minds of the people, or just directly the angels doing it. They have that ability to do that. He casts upon them the fierceness of his wrath, his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Here's the last one to end it off, man, because this is the reassurance that the elect have. All those that the Most High has marked for salvation, which Ezekiel 9:4 goes into that. Right, so this is in Luke chapters 21, and we can go to 28. He says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth near. That is what it is. When you start to see these things, you look up, because you know your redemption draweth near. So all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. This is good news. This is good news to us. We know that this is the end of E's kingdom, right? Because Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it aftereth that followeth. And we look up because we know our redemption is drawing near. Shalom to all the sincere Akim once again. Double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and the house of David is rising, and everything the wicked have done to us, past, present, and future, is falling upon their own head.
This is Dabu 7. We have some shocking new information here connected to the residents and workers near the site where the train carrying this vinyl chloride derailed in Ohio, East Palestine. These people being diagnosed with several different things, but chemical bronchitis at the top of the list, along with other conditions. And it's all connected to chemical exposure coming from this site. This is huge, absolutely huge. One lady, Melissa Blake here, who lives within a mile of the crash, started coughing up gray mucus, and this was 2 days after the train derailed. She evacuated from her home. She went to the emergency room. She was diagnosed with acute bronchitis due to chemical.
Let's check out another one here. What's this one? Explosion of the rock. What's this one here? Significant. Here's another one. Let's check this.
This year, our business reached 15 times.
And then we're going to end off the video.
7. This is Dabu 7. A heads up for folks in Florida. We have what they're calling a significant train derailment taking place in Manatee County. We've got emergency crews on the scene. And you can see here from this shot, we have several cars that are off the tracks. Officials stating that it's going to take some time for this to be cleaned up. We have emergency crews at the scene trying to assess everything. They do state that one of these cars contains about 30,000 gallons of propane. So fire and hazmat crews, they're monitoring those cars, trying to see if they got any leaks. They're also checking from the air with thermal imagery to see if there's any leaks as well. This is the latest derailment, like I said, going down here in Manatee County, Florida. They're saying that the hazmat crews will stay on the scene and continue to monitor everything. There's been no evacuation orders yet, but these things can change quickly. That's why we put out this information. Try to make sure that people are safe. They're not downwind from any explosion or plumes, or down water from any leaks or anything like that. So this is the latest. Follow me on Twitter for more updates.
Alright, gallons of profane. So you have that one there we just looked at in Florida. The one we just looked at, the first one we just, Norfolk, Southern, Norfolk, one in Florida, Hazmat. The first one was East Palestine. This was all within 2 weeks. So you can't say the Most High ain't doing anything. You can't say we're not in the time of judgment. Right? And did we look at this one? Let's check this one out.
This is Dabu 7. A heads up as we have another big train derailment. This time, West Virginia. Their emergency management division releasing a statement saying that this train here this Wednesday morning was coming around the corner and hit a rock slide, and that this rock slide took out the tracks, and at least one locomotive and one fuel tank had been sent into the river, so there's diesel leaking into the river. This accident site is located just south of Sandstone, inside the New River National Park. Now, in this spot, CSX owns 12 feet from the middle of the track to either side, and they're going to be responsible for the cleanup within those bounds. Outside of it, this is where we hit a murky area where responsibility seems to be up in the air. Everyone seems to drop the ball, and they put people's lives at risk. Right now, they're saying there's no road closures. They're not evacuating no one, but there is diesel fuel from the wreckage in the river, and it's heading downstream, and this is the New River. So anyone that is downstream from the New River, you're going to want to use precaution, because you have chemicals in the waterway. Anyone that is pooling from this waterway whatsoever. This is becoming a norm these days, and this is, unfortunately, the latest here. They're saying that they're monitoring the situation, that there was a small fire, it's been put out, but again, it looks like the contamination is going right into the river, and this is a heads up for anyone that's downstream. I will continue to update on this. Follow me on Twitter for those updates, and follow me also here on...
So that's 4 within 2 weeks. 4 train derailments within 2 weeks. I'll read again and then I'll end of the video. Luke 21 and 31 says, so likewise, when you see these things to come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Yahweh is nigh at hand. Yes, the terrors are all around, man. Coming down heavy on the wicked. Right? It's all the power and the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Shai. Yahweh Hashem Shai is sending evil angels. This is the end for these wicked devils, man. Giving our praises to Yahweh Hashem Shai for putting the spirit on me to do this video once again. The house of David is rising, and everything the wicked have done to us, past, present, and future, is falling upon their own head. Shalom, till the next one.